Hello again, everyone. I know it's been a while and we've just been having some life happening as often is the case. And so we're getting together again to have a conversation that's going to come from natural inspiration. And so I will just let you say hello and we will just begin visiting like we always do.
Yeah, we have had a little bit of a break, a longer break than most people will realize because, we had a lot of episodes in our bank, in our episode bank. But yeah, so I'm thrilled to be back. There has been a lot of life happening, and I think, between holidays and snow and just all kinds of different and illnesses, really good to be back and starting a conversation. And we were just chatting and talking about things that inspire us and people that we like to listen to and where they're coming from spiritually, and led to a conversation about how we are the designers of our own journey. Our soul chooses, and it's really a subconscious level. I think that that's really important. We've talked a little bit about that when we've talked about soul contracts and exit plans and such, but to really say it clearer of, not allowing somebody else to tell us that something's coming up in the future, because our soul chooses. And when I meet with people and I'm doing a reading and somebody may ask me, what's going to be in 6 months, I really let them know, I don't do that, because what I see right now may not be the case at all. But if I tell it to you, then you're going to put the steps in which to make that happen. And that isn't fair. That takes away your free will. And I really wanted to talk about that subject because there are so many people out there on social media, TikTok, YouTube, whatever they're on, and many times they're telling us A, B, and C is going to happen. And what we don't realize is when people are telling us something is going to happen, we create that in our reality. And so we just need to be really careful to understand that we create our journey. Our soul leads us. Our subconscious chooses this direction or that direction when there's a fork in the road. And it isn't for someone else to tell us what's coming ahead. It really is for our soul to walk us through it, our guides and, our higher level of consciousness to really design and have choice and free will in what our life looks like. And I'll volley over to you, Stacy.
Right. And we were chit-chatting a bit too, and other things are coming in for me now about my own experience with whatever stressors are coming in, that we can, of course, forget all that we truly are. We forget we are powerful beings. And like you're saying, when we go out there and go, tell me what I need to know, we lose our power. And of course, we're losing our connection with ourselves. And so, what we can do with that, and we've talked about this in various episodes and things, is cultivate the connection with ourselves. I'm amazed still, not surprised, but it's still like such a wonder. I or any clients I'm working with, we can be so stressed in fear. And when I do a process of, for me, connect with my heart. I might listen to something, might be beautiful music, it might be guided meditation, I might just sit in quiet, whatever it is. And when I start to bring in this beautiful, true self, divine energy, then I'm no longer out in all the circumstances of whatever all those things are, because there is a collective energy out there. A lot of fear, a lot of worry. We are in early February-ish 2025 in the United States. There's a lot of fear going around. We're not going to go into the details, but there's no shortage of that. You mentioned illness, like whatever it is. And there's going to be times where we're going to go into that survival flight mode. But with our energy and consciousness here, our intention is to honor all that you all experience, but also to remind you you're powerful beings. And it's not enough just for us to say that. We have to actually take action, even at the level of, or especially at the level of consciousness and awareness. Because we'll be in our head, like you mentioned, subconscious, and there's so much. We have these parts of ourselves, and because not all of us entirely is in fear, but it takes over. It's a full body experience when we're in fear. And then it's literally like, oh my gosh, I'm not okay. And we start believing all whatever thoughts that come in with that. And then we forget how to take care of ourselves, or that's even an option. And I still get hijacked by it.
Mhm.
I'll still be in that longer than, honestly, than I want to be. But like we were also just saying this before we started recording today, it still is all here for us, because I can speak for myself. I need the fear to get me to go, wait a minute. I know there's other options. I know this isn't all my truth. Because if we're just moderately uncomfortable, we just keep going and same old, same old. We don't change until we are pushed, however we're pushed. And I'll pass that over to you. It's like, wow, there's so much going on.
Well, what's really coming up really in this moment, we've talked about before. I mean, obviously Stacy knows, but our listeners, one of my spirit guides, Esmeralda, who's my main spirit guide, I remember her saying to me one time that she was going to make me so uncomfortable that I had no other choice but to make a different choice, basically. And I say that on the heels of, we all do still have free will, even though she would say something like that to me, right? But what she knew was what was coming ahead, right? Like she knew that, like nobody here on this earth. So our spirit guides, our angels, whatever you want to refer to it as, they see every path that we could possibly choose. They see it. And part of what our spirit guides do for us is they try to nudge us into the one that is the best option, but we still have the free will to choose. We still have that power, but there are guides, and they want to make they they really do love us, and they want to make things the easier route, even though throughout my life apparently I like to choose the harder route most of the time. And I'm sure that that frustrates her, which is why, she just said, I will make you so uncomfortable until you choose something different. And I believe that, like I believe that. I believe that when we can't picture or we can't see what's our best interest, or when we shut down, right? Like, because, I do that at times. Stacy and I were just talking about that. I feel like I had the last few weeks, I have felt like I've been shut down. And our brain does it for us for protection, right? Like when we're experiencing a trauma or overwhelm or such. But what happens is your feet stop moving, right? When you shut down, your feet stop moving. So if we stay in that too long and we don't have perpetual movement, now don't confuse that with, you don't need to run around being, like a chicken with their head cut off. Like that's not what I mean. But when we sit too long, think of it this way, we bypass some of our options.
Mm,
And,
mm,
it's like you've got five things up in front. One's a little closer, then one's a little further, whatever. And
mm,
you take out three of those five choices
mm,
because we sat too long.
mhm, mhm,
And now that doesn't mean jump at every choice we have, and that's not what I mean, but really having discernment and staying connected to
mm,
self. Um, we all disconnect at times for various reasons. Like I said, I have done that for the last few weeks, for sure, because things have been tough. But if I don't reconnect and I don't come back to place with self and soul and spirit guides and all of this and really fix that for myself, then I'm going to miss some of those open doors. And so, like one of the advantages like of Stacy and I meeting, and I will say this and forever, is that it creates this space that I hope that you guys are also having created for you as you are listening or watching.
Mhm.
It creates this space where it's just so much easier to
Mhm.
come back into that energy, to come back into that connectedness, which is really, truly what Stacy and I are trying to create here. It isn't about having so many followers. It isn't about how many people are here, but to create this space where the energy is electric. It lights up,
Right.
and where you automatically feel more connected,
Mhm.
um, so
Mhm.
that these kinds of things happen less and less. These disconnects happen less and less.
Mhm.
And we really benefit from being together in this, because it allows us, as we're doing this weekly, to really come back to that space. And it keeps us on track for the week.
Mhm.
And sometimes it veers off.
Mhm.
Sometimes, we talk about collective energy. There is collective energy. There's a lot of collective energy out there. And it can be, we talked about when the hurricane had gone through, and how there was this prevailing sadness energy that was kind of affecting a lot of people that weren't even connected to that area or to anybody who was there. It just, that happens. But when we come into a safe place where we're reconnecting our light and our love and our positive energy, it helps to almost build a shield
Mhm.
around us to A, keep those other energies that are draining from coming into the realm, but B, allows us to be so connected that
Mhm.
we are radiating that out to others who may be going through a hard time, and
Mhm.
just our presence gives
Mhm.
them peace and calmness. I'm gonna volley back to you. I know I kind of went a few
Oh,
different
beautiful.
directions, but really what
That's
I was
so,
feeling.
yes. This beautiful, loving energy that we create, experience, and like Terry said, that we certainly hope others, and it's all based on if you want it, it's there. Sometimes we're struggling so much we can't quite feel it, and it's all okay. But what I love about our intention and what we cultivate, it's about love, and it's about expansion and appreciation and all of these things. And podcasts like this, not like literally, because we're all unique, nothing exists, just we're unique in who we are. But it's what got me through. I learned so much, through COVID, through rough times, about what I'll call my spirituality, the meaning of me, the I am, whatever. And that's where I came to even be aware I'm not who I think I am all of the years, because there was just this other part of me running me. I didn't even know. And I know my soul's been there, it's always there, guardian angels there, whoever is there for us. But if we don't know that, it's just like we feel so alone.
Yes.
And when we cultivate this energy and love, of course we know it like raises vibration, then we're spreading that. Then if you feel it, you get to spread that. It matters more than we will ever know about just simple things. And I think we might have named this on another podcast as some type of example, but if my loving kindness is emitted and I interact with someone, just even one person, they could be having the worst day, they could be having a great day, whatever it is. they go and they interact with someone and they, right, all that domino effect. And we know there's no shortage of things to look at that are the stressors and problems. There's also no shortage of beauty in this world, or like, and we're not talking about like ignoring, putting our head in the sand. There's a place to experience all of it. I think where we come from, and we talk about this a lot, is just it has a purpose for us, even in the struggle, but we also know we don't want to stay there.
Yeah.
We're here for so much more than that. So yeah.
I was really just hit with needing to say this. And I have not talked about, my regular 40-hour a week job that I do, but I work in developmental disabilities. And I have to tell you, one of the reasons why I know that my heart and soul is in this work, um, more so than mental health, right? Like, um, the reason I know that is if you've ever been blessed to be around those with developmental disabilities, then you'll know what I'm talking about. There is this, they don't have the same um, judgment, the same need to want to live up to somebody's expectation. And I, I have the beauty of my week is so beautiful. I have many clients who are just say beautiful things all day long to people, but I have one in particular who literally every time I walk into what I'll say is our classroom, it's too much to understand, but um, every time I walk in there, whether it is 5 times a day or 2 times a day, this client says, "You're my favorite. You're my favorite. You're my favorite." And it is what that does. I wanted to say this because it's about, people who admit this positive love and light and such
Mhm.
affect you and your day. So if we're doing that to others, we're affecting them too. And I could be having the worst day.
Mhm.
Um, and all I need to do is go walk into that room. And it's like just so much love. And
Mhm.
they love without conditions. It is the most beautiful thing. And not to say that there's not any issues, okay? I'm not negating that, but they love so freely and so beautifully. And I aspire to be
Mhm.
that way. Like um to be able to let go of all the bindings and the boundaries, all this stuff that we do as we walk through our life,
Mhm.
and just give love to everyone I come in contact with, because
Yes.
love is the epitome. We've talked about that so much. And
Yes.
I would be remiss if I didn't say, so I work on the curriculum um for each day. Now, not our base curriculum, right? But our curriculum for I've gone through and looked at what every single day on the calendar is. So like there's things like National Self-Love Day, National Paul Bunyan Day, National Flannel Day. I mean, like every day is different, and I've created a calendar so that our clients can learn about what day it is. Now, some days have like 20 things to pick from. So, don't think if I say something that you're like, when is that? Because it might be on a day that there's something else that's bigger for most people. But this because it's, I'm sure, February and Valentine's Day, but we have had pay a compliment day was last week. We have make a new friend day this week. We have International Self-Love Day this week coming up. And it is so funny that when last week when we were doing pay a compliment day, I'll just say, I made these little cards that just start with, I like this about you, and then dot, dot, dot. And they would pair up and they would pay the compliment to somebody else. And it was so funny because they didn't want to stop with who they were paired up with. They wanted to make sure everyone in the room got a compliment from them. Why aren't we living our life that way? Right? Like, why aren't we living our life that way?
Exactly. Exactly. We're too caught up in all the stuff.
Yep.
We forget. We just keep forgetting. That's what really matters.
Yep. Yep. So I really wanted to speak that out because it's so heartwarming. It is so, it's, it's so much light and love. And I just hope that, even so Thursday this week, is International Self-Love Day. And, I've made these cards that are like, I am worthy, I am loved, I am cared about, and we're going to pass those out. But remember, you can do that for yourself every single day.
Exactly. Love
And you
that.
can do it for other people too. You're passing a random person in the store, say, "Hey, I like your shoes." You know what
Right.
that does to somebody and
Right.
what it does to you.
Right.
Because when you
Right.
see them smile and it bounces back
Yes.
and forth between us.
Yes. And it takes this awareness and intention, like you just said. You can do it every single day and not as a should or,
Yes.
because there's a lot of really good ideas out there about just say your affirmations. But then
Yes.
there's a difference between saying one of those and really feeling it. We can say
Yes.
it, and it's just in our head, or are we really, you know,
Yes.
it's a
Yes.
more connected,
Yes.
sort of focused experience.
Yes.
And doing more of that in whatever that looks like for any of us is where we're going to feel more of that love.
Yeah.
Love's the answer I feel like love's the answer to everything.
It's the
And
epitome.
and it includes honoring, oh, I'm having a bad day. I can certainly be with a close friend. Terry and I do that. We're there for each other. We can share anything. And it doesn't have a low vibration. It's not a complaining, like, and if you need to complain, complain. But I'm just saying that, like, the consciousness behind, underneath, is so important
Hmm.
because we'll just be in our habits every day, whatever those patterns are. We've talked about patterns, and it's not like patterns aren't really good or bad, but it's how does it make you feel?
Hmm.
And so I've been really aware of like certain parts of me just come on and they've got the same mood and it's not always the most fun mood. And I'm like, well, I really just don't want to be in this all day. So what do I need,
Yeah.
And
Yep.
so it's just it's a journey that has so many aspects. And I know that the human part feels it's challenging and we want to get out of the misery, discomfort, and whatever. And yet, gosh, all the years that I tried to get out of it or have sat with people, we don't get out of it. We come back in, we would say, come back into love,
Yes.
all that we are in the divine connection.
Yes.
It's about remembering because you're not doing anything wrong. There's nothing wrong with you.
Yep.
But the
Yep.
feelings and the struggles are real. But again, if we're not creating like, oh, it's my fault. We are never saying it's anyone's fault, anything, or that that we should blame ourselves or anybody else. That's I don't believe that's truth anymore. But it's like if I am creating and I'm connected or whatever it is with divine, then there's always so much more possible.
Absolutely.
And the free will, I have choice.
Yep.
Mhm.
Well, this is a beautiful conversation again today, just like always. I'm so happy to have done this today, as every time that we do this. And I'm glad that everybody joined us, and we'll see you next time.
Yes, thanks so much, everyone. Take good care.